Who doesn't love roses? What's better than having roses or growing some of them yourself and for them to bloom over and over through the growing season? What we're going to do is take a look at how to make that happen in your garden. Lots of flowers, lots of roses. So we'll be right back. Now, before we go any further, I want to quickly recognize our garden tour sponsors. A big thank you to Gilbert H. Wild & Son, Sunpatiens, Arkansas Parks and Tourism, Ralston Family Farms, First Community Bank, and Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. These tours would not be possible without them. Check out our sponsor page on my website, pallensmith.com, for more information. Hey there, thanks for joining us and welcome to Moss Mountain Farm. We're over here on the east lawn of Moss Mountain Farm, and one of the hallmarks of it is I've planted a lot of roses. We do a lot of special events here, lots of brides, weddings, so forth, bridal photographs. And over the years, these roses have really been a beautiful display for lots of events. We're at the end of the growing season now, and what I thought I might do is just talk a little bit about how to get roses to rebloom. The fall is a great time of the year for rose flowers. So what I like to do is give them a little extra boost, and we're going to talk about a few things that you can do in your own garden to make that very same thing happen. But first, let's talk about a little bit of the history of roses. It's kind of fascinating to me. Roses and humans have been connected for a long time. I mean, we just can't resist them. It goes back to ancient times. But in the Western world, up until we discovered China and began trade with China, roses only bloomed one time in the spring. They might have thrown off a bloom or two in the fall, but for the most part, they only bloomed once. And it was with trade with China, and we began to get Chinese roses and into hybridization. This goes back to the 17th century, really the 18th century, and then it really took off in the 19th century. You got remontant roses, and remontant just means they rebloom, okay? That's what we love, right? Reblooming roses. So what we have over here are some great roses. These are very floriferous. If you've been to Moss Mountain Farm during the rose blooming season, you know what I'm talking about. But what we do is we cut these back about every 6 weeks, okay? And it will cause a whole new flush of flowers, which is really quite extraordinary. And it's very easy to do. There are two things that I do. One is to cut them back, which promotes new growth, which is what you want. The second thing you want to do is you want to feed them. And here we're at the end of the season. We're just at the end of August, and you can see it's been a pretty hot summer and they're not looking that great. If we come up here and we look closer, as I put on my gloves, you can see that the flowers here have finished up. These flowers are all gone, and the way to induce more bloom, and I do recommend gloves because after all we are dealing with a thorny plant here, but that doesn't stop me, is I'll come in here and I'll just start cutting these things back like this. All right, you see, roses will reflush very quickly. I want to show you something here that'll indicate what I'm talking about. That's a rose hip, that's the fruit of the rose. So what happens is once a plant is allowed to set seed, typically it sends hormones through the plant, says, okay, I don't need to flower anymore. I've done my job. I've created seed for the next generation, and so I can rest. So if you'll go in and you'll cut these things back, and I'm being pretty ruthless here, I'm going back down to just under the size of a pencil here with these stems. And with these are a form of knockout. I don't remember which one exactly it is, but I'm getting pretty serious. That's closer to the size of a pencil here, still just a little smaller. And I'm just going to cut all these back for you so you can see what I'm talking about. You can use hedge trimmers if you want and just go through here and make light work of it. Now, if you're going to have guests over, you may want to wait a little bit on this before you go through and really cut them back. But trust me, this will induce so many new leaves and so many new flower buds, which is what we're after here, you really won't believe it. And it doesn't take long at all to actually accomplish this, as you can see. You just get in there and get after it. And I just try to make sure the tip of every stem is cut. Get the idea looking across here. You can also kind of shape them up if the roses have grown in your way across a path, just cut them back. So people are so afraid of pruning. It's really quite astonishing to me. And what I've found is you actually do much better with your plants if you'll prune them. Now let's move in here just a little closer. And what you'll see is at each one of these points, there is a bud, if you look closely right here. And so you can see I've cut this off just above that bud. And what will happen by cutting this, that dormant bud will grow out, and on the end of that will be, guess what, right, a cluster of flower buds that will open and be beautiful in about 6 weeks. All right, the other thing that I do here is this is the time when I'll feed them again. All right, it takes a lot of food to produce blooms. Think about that. So you want to feed them again. I love to use an organic fertilizer that you can just sprinkle around the base of them. And then we use a lot of mulch. It gets really warm here, and so we'll use mulch to keep the soil consistently moist. And when it comes to watering roses, it's so much better to water them with a drip irrigation and not spray them overhead, because that will cause disease to run rampant in your roses. So if you can water them with a soaker hose or a drip line or something like that, it's much better. Or if you just want to hand water, you have a few rose bushes, just keep your watering wand close to the ground and water those roots. That's where you want the water, not on the leaves, okay? Well, this is just a quick tutorial on how to get your roses up and running again. This is going to be the last hurrah for the season for these. These will be gorgeous in about 6 weeks, just in time for our visitors here at Moss Mountain Farm for tours. If you haven't been out to see us, we hope you'll plan a trip, bring a friend, and come on over and see us. Thank you for following us on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing to our channel. And also keep those questions coming. I enjoy answering them from time to time. And if you'll ring the bell, we'll send you notifications we have new content. All right, until next time, happy gardening. Get out there and get after it.